we salute you. So you're welcome to the Get Busy Living podcast. I'm Dr. Scott from Six Sense Acupuncture and the Healthy Habits Club. We've got a wonderful guest on today, and that's Cath Sully. She's from Terra Soul Therapies, and you're a psychotherapist. Is that correct, Cath?
Correct. Yep.
So we appreciate your time. I'm looking forward to some the gold. I know that you got some gold nuggets of information to provide to us. So we appreciate your time, and thank you so much for squeezing us in. Much appreciated.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
So I'll start off with the usual question. So tell us what gets you out of bed every morning, Cath?
Yeah, it's a good question. I have thought quite a bit about this, and it's honestly living the life I want to live, and it's my energy, and I get my energy from doing what I want to do, and doing what aligns with me. I like my energy sometimes, and this may sound a bit weird, but sometimes I'll be lying in bed and I just find myself standing up, and there's been no thought process. But because I have this zest and this energy for life to get out and do things, and I love it. And when I do what I love, it just gives me energy.
Yeah, I sort of understand what you mean. Sometimes you're just outside of your body, and you're not really understanding why. But it's a good feeling, and that's the. I know what you're saying. The message is just go with it. So yeah, but appreciate that you're helping the community. Thank you so much for doing that. And like you said, you got to put yourself first. That's what you're saying. Yeah, you got to put yourself first. So then you can help others.
Yeah, well, I'm a big advocate of, if I'm telling people in the therapy space, how to live, and a lot of the therapy I do is around awareness of yourself. And if I don't have that awareness of me, how can I teach it to others?
Yeah.
So, and a lot of the work I do is embodied, as feeling into your body and noticing what your body does, and noticing those thoughts that are in the back of your head that you're not allowed to say. And if I don't do that for myself, how can I do that for others?
Yeah. It's exactly right. Absolutely. And so that comes back to my next question. So how did you get into psychotherapy?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So I've got teenagers at home, and so it's not a single answer, I guess was what I want to say. Is I've got teenagers at home. I wanted to learn how to talk to them and how to be with them and how to raise children, like fully put together, grounded children who go through the life that they want to live. So, and also, I've been a nurse for 30 years, and I've worked through the correctional system. I've worked through emergency. I've worked in mental health. And I just could see how people are so disconnected from themselves, and so full of, I guess, societal expectations and fears of judgment. And they weren't living the lives that they want to live. And I saw it in myself as well. I wasn't living the life that I wanted to live. And it was around, not feeling like I could, not feeling like I could be who I wanted to be. Maybe I was too much, or I was not enough, or maybe society says that I had to do this, and that didn't work for me. And so, and I saw it everywhere I went. I mean, I worked in emergency as a nurse for many years, and the trauma I saw in that was, it was heartbreaking. And these people don't know anything different. They just don't.
Yeah.
And they don't know they're allowed to be themselves, and they don't know it's okay to be themselves.
Yeah.
And so, and it was the same with my children as well, and myself. And so it set me on the journey. And once I went down this journey of educating myself more, then and I just felt the joy and the lightness and the freedom it gave me in my life, and it really helped me with my children, and to be able to have really real genuine conversations with them, and it's changed my life and my family.
Yeah, and this is where I can connect with you, Kath, because my background is 10 years as a guard, and I worked in hospitals, so I saw everything that you saw, and you're right. People, they're in a ditch. I call it the ditch. It's a ditch just deep enough so they can't see above what's available to them outside in the world.
And they're stuck.
They just need someone to give them that little helping hand to get up out of the ditch.
Mm-hmm.
And once they're out of the ditch, then they realize that everything that was happening to them was really just temporary, and that it can be, you just got to ride it and get through and get out of the ditch.
Absolutely. And it's how you do that. I've had clients that have seen psychologists for years, okay, and I know every discipline has its own benefits and whatnot, but I've had sessions where I've seen a person once and they've said to me, you know what, I've never been able to say this. This has never been able to come up before. And they're the things that need to come out. Those things that you've never been able to say, you've never been able to own, you've never been able to investigate. And it's beautiful when people can own that, because that's where the change can start.
Absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, the mind is a wonderful thing, isn't it? It's a wonderful.
Absolutely.
I call it a beast as well.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely a beast. And it's complex.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of complexities to it, and it's multifactorial.
And
I guess
right. Go. Keep going.
I guess that's why in my therapy that I do, I don't take a particular stance. My therapy is very curiosity based, very interest based. It's very awareness raising based, and it's very strength based. So it's identifying, because often people, they just focus on the negatives. That's all they see. And that's all they can see. And often that's all they've been taught to see. So it's about creating that awareness, and creating an awareness around actually they do have strengths, and they are allowed to show up as they want to show up.
Yeah.
And I can see it in people's bodies when they have that realization. It's like they're freer. It's like they start floating. You can just see them go, oh, wow, yeah. It's beautiful when I see that. It's beautiful. That's what gets me up in the mood.
And yeah, you're right, 100%. I was muted, but I was basically agreeing with you that, yeah, we are taught that this is the problem, is with that it's almost endorsed to feel down. And I mean, you could talk about things that are troubling you, but I mean, it has to be my mentor says that we have about 1 or 2 great thoughts in a year. The rest is garbage.
A lot, isn't it? I know.
Yeah,
considering we have about 60,000 thoughts a day.
Yeah, and that's what he's trying to say, is that the rest is just garbage. So you just have to try and minimize how much garbage goes through into your mind. So and that's the most difficult part. That's part of my 3 pillars, is to keep the mind and the heart quiet. If you can keep those two quiet, well, but that's the hardest part. And that's the bit that, and that's what he was trying to say is that.
And I guess in that you have to work out, that quiet. What does that quiet mean to you? What is that? What is that quiet? How do you access that? Like, it's all very good for me to access that and for me to have my processes around that. But how do you do it? That's the key. And investigating your processes and what you need around that.
Yeah, and exactly right. And that's for me, it's meditation, EFT, emotional freedom technique. That I endorse those two because, especially meditation. I mean, it's been around forever. It's even mentioned in the Bible. It's mentioned in most religions. And there's a reason why they say that. Because I mean, it's been happening for 10,000 years, guys.
I was just about to say, I've just had a trip to Japan, and we stayed at a monastery and did some meditation with the monks there, and it was beautiful. And there is a reason why they've been doing that for thousands and thousands of years, because it works.
Absolutely.
It's just often hard for some people that can't quiet their mind to get there. But there's a process around that too. And it's about working out.
But none of that's taught. I've never ever heard a kid come to me and say, "Oh, we did meditation today at school."
I know, it's so disappointing. I know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And our parents don't teach us that. Our caregivers don't teach it. Our teachers don't teach that. But then a lot of my therapy is around also not moving into a blame culture, because that's not helpful for anyone as well. So it's also acknowledging that they were doing the best that they can at the time as you were growing up. What happened to you was with your caregivers, they were performing all they knew and the best at the time. So it's also, having responsibility for yourself and going, all right, this is where I am. How am I going to move forward? What am I going to do in my life to help me move forward?
And that's another thing that's not taught.
Yeah. Oh, because
we're not taught to be self-reliant.
Yeah.
We're not taught to be self-reliant.
Yep. And there's a challenge in that too, because I have a strong belief that we're actually designed to be part of the community. I mean, I read a research study recently about the number one, the number one factor that contributes to longevity in life. It's about being part of a community. So, and being accepted as part of the community. So we're also designed to be part of a community. But it's how we show up in that community that matters.
Well, and that, I know what you're talking about, the blue zones. They talk about the blue zones, and I think it was Okinawa. There's a village on the island of Okinawa that they have really good longevity. Most of them live over 100, and they all know each other. Everyone knows each other.
Mm-hmm.
So that and I mean, I've spoken about this before on the podcast, and I wouldn't, like in the 1980s when I grew up in the 1990s, I knew everyone in the street. I could point to a house in the street. I could say, I know who they are. They've been there for how many years. I know the whole family, and I go to the 3 doors down and I know who's in that house. See what I'm saying? But now I got no idea. I have no idea who lives down the street.
That's right. I don't know my neighbours either.
And I think that's because a lot of factors, but mainly because the Family Institute has been infiltrated. What do I mean by that? It's just easier if the family is disorientated. For the for who's in control, to take control of those people, and that's us.
and then people are left alone. They're left alone. And when people are left alone, I mean, it brings up a whole heap of things. And often people don't identify that, yes, they're feeling alone, but also, maybe their next door neighbour is. It's actually, it's very, sadly, it's very common to feel alone. And then when people feel alone, they feel like they're they're the only ones in that space. It's like when you I don't know. I relate it to pregnancy. When you're pregnant, suddenly you see everyone that's pregnant. So when you're experiencing something, you suddenly, you see it out there. So, it's, I forgot where I was going with that. I got sidetracked. Pregnancy.
This is where sales training, and they talk about marketing, and all the big companies will target people, especially with social media. Like if you're looking for a car, and if you do searches on certain cars, then they'll start sending ads to you through social media about those cars.
Yep.
So, and I mean, you just look at the food industry; it's no different. They advertise the hell out of mums and dads, because mums and dads are sold to every day. I'm sorry to say, guys, if you're a mum or dad, you're being sold every day. There's a book called Sell or Be Sold, and the first chapter is about what? Parents being sold every day. I want my Macca's now. I want my KFC now.
Absolutely is. And what I don't understand is why taking care of your mental health and what you need is not sold as a positive thing as well. Like, I don't understand the stigma that's around mental health and around, getting help. Because, say on my website, I have, it's people like Google reviews. And I've asked a couple of people if they could help me out with a Google review. And I get it. People don't want to be associated with a therapist because there's a stigma against it. So I guess I struggle with the way society sells some things and not others. Where's the choice?
I'm going to use a few different nationalities and the way that they deal with it. And in the Indigenous Aboriginal communities, so in traditional times, they use songs. So they'd have a song about a person, so whoever is in the village, and they make a song about that person, and then they it would explain the emotions that they go through. So they expressed it through song.
Yeah. So they're encouraged to express it.
And in Chinese medicine mythology, they actually used to write rhymes, so kids' rhymes. So that with Chinese formulas. So what the benefit of that is, if you know what the herbs are in the formula, you know what the condition it's for, and what the dosage is, then everyone in the village knows what they need to get for whatever that condition is.
Yep.
How about that for next level?
Yeah, and they're encouraged to do it.
Yeah. So if you've got so in Chinese medicine, the organs control our emotions. So if there's a certain organ in disarray, then you figure out what the symptoms are by the formula. How about that for the next level? So you know what I'm saying? That's just two cultures. Now that's just on mental health alone. So we could learn so much from but there's never been taught over the last 100 years in our mainstream medicine.
Yeah, and I don't understand it. I mean, a lot of society is around diagnosis, and I get that's a thing. Everybody's different, but sometimes it's not necessarily about the diagnosis, but about the symptoms that have been experienced within that diagnosis. So there's a lot of labeling going on. And as I said, that's absolutely helpful for some people. Some people it's not. And so, for some people, they find it quite destabilizing. And It's part of the society we live in.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that comes back to labels,
Yeah.
getting labeled. And you would have seen that in the hospitals.
All the time, all the time. And as I said, some people, I mean, everyone's different. And so it is beneficial for some and not for others.
Yeah.
I've seen quite a few people who are really distraught around their label, that they find that traumatic within itself.
Yeah.
But then I've seen other people also are really
Love it.
supported by the label and know where to access their treatment through that label.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I love it.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's never one size fits all.
Absolutely not. And that's the way conventional medicine is being conducted.
Yeah,
Exactly. It's an umbrella method.
Yeah.
And if you don't sit under the umbrella, or well, we're sorry, we can't help you.
And that's why I love my therapy, the therapy I do so much. It's because it's not about me. It's about the client, and it's about what's going on for them. When I start my therapy sessions, I make it very clear that, there's no judgment, but also I might get things wrong, and that's okay. And I'm okay to get things wrong and then I go on to tell them that if I get things wrong, it's actually your opportunity to tell me that I've got it wrong and to own what's going on for you. So it's actually a positive thing if I get that wrong, if I get something wrong.
And that's the hardest, going into business, that was the hardest thing for me, because I came from a family of background of get a job, pay your bills, see what I'm saying? And when you go into business, but the lessons are great. Why? Because you learn from them faster.
Yeah.
You don't always necessarily learn, but you learn faster.
That's what I mean. If you reflect and you dig, and that's where judgment comes in. That's why judgment is, I'm going to say we all, not everyone, but most people judge themselves.
Absolutely.
And it's not beneficial. I mean, it doesn't help. All judgments does, a fear of judgment and judging ourselves, and I'm not immune to it either. And all it does is it keeps you small. It keeps you little, and it keeps you from learning.
Yeah.
So in my therapy space, what I promote is, acknowledge the feeling of judgment and what's being said in your head, but also show curiosity around it. Like, maybe not judgment, maybe curiosity. And by that, curiosity helps open people up to look at it and to look at themselves and look at what they're doing that's not beneficial to their lives. So curiosity is and that's what I do in the therapy space. It's so beautiful, and it's liberating.
So I see what you're saying, and what's it called? It's where you record your emotions.
Yeah, like a journal.
Right. Yeah. There is a name for it. Is it diversional therapy?
I'm not sure.
I remember that in the 90s it was huge. There were a lot of mental health facilitators were using that diary, keeping a record of what your emotions, and it is beneficial. I believe so. The reason being is it can help you manage it's like a stitch in time, saves 9. So it's a preventative measure. So then when it happens to you again, then you don't have the breakdown, don't become manic or anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And journaling can be very beneficial in many ways. And I know some people find it hard to journal. Some people don't. So journaling can come in many forms. It can look like, writing in a diary. I've got a friend that loves her diary, and she'll buy a beautiful diary and write in that every day. That wouldn't work for me. I know people that do audio diaries. I know people that, write in a notebook. Like, a journal can be anything. It doesn't have to be the classic term of journaling. So I find that sometimes people get a bit of a block around looking at, how they might journal. And they don't actually consider the fact that it can look like many different things, like life. It can look many different ways. So, yeah, I found journaling in my life very, very beneficial. And that's around being able to say what's in my head and not fear judgment from others, and being able to be really genuinely honest.
Yep. And with yourself, yeah?
Yeah.
With yourself.
Absolutely.
Because then you go back and, why did I say that?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
What was I thinking? That's the whole point.
I know. Sometimes I don't go back and read it because I'm like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah, so I did the same thing. I did audio journaling because it's easier.
Yeah.
But now they have transcribing software that you can transcribe it into
That's
paper
right.
as well.
There's so many different ways to do life. So many different ways, but people get stuck in there's only one way to do life. And look, I don't want to use the blame. The word blame just came up in my head, but society, we learn that from society. It's learnt, as we've already talked about.
Absolutely.
And people have these implicit beliefs that they don't even know they have, and then they guide their life around those implicit beliefs.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's, I guess that's what I do in the therapy room. Try and look at people's implicit beliefs and get a gauge of them and question them. And people don't even know they've got those beliefs.
Yes.
Which is fascinating.
Absolutely. I'll give you a perfect example of what I see. Because I do pulse diagnosis, as you know, and in the stomach, there's the region of the artery, the radial artery, there's the stomach region, and if it's pounding, and that means inflammation. So that means too much acid in the stomach. Okay, too much hydrochloride in the stomach. So I'll say to them, "Oh, do you get heartburn? Do you get reflux?" And they'll say no. But then at the end of the consultation, they'll say, "What medication are you taking?" And then I'll see that they're taking Somac and Nexium.
Yeah.
But in their mind, they think that no, I don't get heartburn or reflux, but they're taking something for it to cover it up.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is, and that's what I say to them. Well, if you stop taking the medication, would you have reflux or heartburn?
Yeah. I mean, you said it yourself, covering it up.
Yeah, it is. That's what it does. It doesn't solve the cause. It just covers it up.
Yeah. And I think that right there is what a lot of us do in our lives. We find things that work that may not quite work, but it covers up who we are. And it covers up the things that we want to do. And we hide ourselves around that.
Absolutely.
So, it just made me think, a lot of the therapy I do as well is in the body. And so with that body-mind connect. And so I work a lot with the body, and I find it really interesting to see how people's bodies react when they have no awareness around it. And when you can create that awareness in people around how their body reacts to certain words or certain triggers, it just opens up so much conversation, and it just opens them up. Like an example, I had a client that every time she thought of being judged, her whole body would shudder. And she didn't even know that was happening. But it was because I was in the therapy space with her. I was able to see that happen. And that's just made a difference to her. So when she feels she shudders, she knows, oh, something's happened. Oh, let me be curious about that. I'm not judging it. Let me be curious about that. And how she's
there's no bar, yeah? There's
Yeah.
no bar. There's no standard. They don't
Yep.
see the standard that
Yep. And
this is not right. This is not
yeah.
normal.
Yeah. And the body knows. The body
Yeah.
knows.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's why I like the pulse diagnosis, because the body is telling me what's going on.
Yeah. Yep.
And like you said, people just aren't in tune. That was a perfect example what I just gave you about the somac and nexia. They're just not aware. They're not aware of what's going on internally.
And a lot of people, I know when I at work, a lot of people don't even know the medications they're on, don't even know why
Absolutely.
they're given it. You know, they go to their GP and their GP just prescribes it, and they think, well, my doctor told me, well, I need to keep doing that. So they don't even question it. They don't know that they can question it. They don't know, because, you know, they look at doctors and they get a bit of, you know, I'm going to use a diagnosis here, but white coat syndrome, you know, where they get nervous.
It's a real thing. This is
It
a
is,
real
yeah,
thing. I've seen
exactly.
it. I've seen it.
Yeah. And there's no judgment around that. It's a thing. It's just a thing. And then it changes who they are. So they means they don't think they can ask questions. They don't think they can question, you know, a person that's maybe in seniority who maybe knows more than them. They just don't know that they can question and ask questions again. And so they just stay. They just keep doing the same thing over and over because they're told what to do. And yeah, and it has an effect on them, and they don't realize what's happening to them.
Well, that's what I tell my patients. That's why I wear black.
Oh yeah,
because when I take their blood pressure, then they say, "Well, it can't be me because I'm wearing black."
Well, I got birds on mine, Tom.
Yeah.
Not white, but there's birds on it. I don't know if that helps.
No, that's very true. A lot of patients, when they go in and get their blood pressure taken, and it's taken by the GP or specialist, it is elevated. Why? Because they're nervous. They're white coat fever. They got the white coat fever, I call it.
And they think they have to be a certain way, and they think they can't be a certain way.
Yeah.
And it's not even a conscious thought. It's just something they do. It's a process, you know. And they don't, as I said, question it. But it's like all our processes in life. If you look at the world we're around, there's so much to take on. Like, I mean, if you look at this room, right? There's pictures up there. There's a white wall. There's plants. There's lots going on. You can't focus on everything at the one time. So your body or your mind cuts corners. It thinks, you know, if you're like walking down the street, there's cars, there's people, there's houses, there's buildings, there's the temperature, there's the, you know, whatever you're carrying, there's your things in your life you're thinking about. You cannot process it all at once. So your mind cuts corners and he goes, oh, I know this situation. This is what I do in this situation. And you just go down that path without questioning it. Oh, I know this. This is what I do. And so unless you can create that awareness around, say, let's say white coat syndrome, they'll just keep doing that because they'll think that that's what you do. They don't even know there's another way to do life.
Absolutely. And yeah, that and that comes back to what I was saying before about the third pillar of keeping your mind and heart quiet, because if your heart's racing that fast and pumping at that higher level of pressure, pretty good chance this one's going to be doing exactly the same thing.
Yeah, without the awareness attached to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that word that you use, awareness, because it's something that we're not taught as well. We're not taught anything about awareness of your body.
No.
Awareness of what's happening in your mind as well.
Yep. And the connect.
I never hear a kid come home and say, "Oh, we talked about awareness today, and how we can be in tune with our bodies."
Yeah, exactly. And some people think that's a joke. Some people don't believe in it, and I have a lot of curiosity around that. Or some people kind of, you know, smirk at that, you know, and And I think some of that is around people not knowing, and also people wanting certainty in their life. You know,
Yeah,
people don't like to live with uncertainty. Uncertainty can be uncomfortable. Not knowing the
absolutely.
future can be
Yeah.
uncomfortable. Not knowing what's going to happen can be very uncomfortable. So a lot of people, they kind of push that away because it doesn't feel certain. They just don't know, which is disappointing.
Start a business and you'll feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with that.
Is that anyway? Yeah, that's just like jumping in the very deep end
Yeah,
of a pool.
yeah.
Very
When
deep.
I
Like 5
when I
meters
started,
deep.
yeah, exactly. When I started my business, I had no idea all the
Yeah,
stuff that I had to become an expert in all of a sudden, like
absolutely.
media,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
promotion, like all that stuff. Billing, banking, all that stuff that I had no idea about. Networking.
What's that? Well,
Yeah,
so it was, well,
exactly.
you get crammed all this information about what you do as a technician, but
Yes.
there's not with well, there is a little, but it's not 1% of what you actually learn
Mm.
uh, when it comes to marketing, sales, um, follow up, and blah blah blah.
Yep.
All of that is just minute. So we've done really well. I'm going to have to cut it short today, Kath, but just tell us quickly about how you've helped someone with I don't know, something that stands out to you.
So I had a client just recently who I deal a lot with anxiety. Anxiety is a big thing in our community, and there's a lot to and the media has a lot to blame for
No,
that.
no. How can you say that?
Just
We're
a
probably
thought.
going to get banned from all the platforms that I'm on already.
Yeah.
So it's all good. There's no censoring. There's no censoring.
Yeah, no, and it's hard, and I don't think we're designed to take in all that information. We're just not, just
Yeah,
too
I
much.
agree.
So I've got one client who very anxious, had really troubles in her upbringing, and after 2 sessions, we talk through things and talk through her awareness around things and things that might work for her. And after 2 sessions, at the end of her second session, she said to me, "You know what? I actually can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm actually looking forward to having an anxiety attack so I can put some of these things into place." Oh, that's beautiful. It's nice.
That's empowering and that's weaponizing.
Yeah, exactly. She was looking forward to her next anxiety because she had the tools that worked for her.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's the key. They worked for her.
For her, yeah.
And it was right for her. Wasn't right for me or anyone else. It worked for her. So yeah.
It's just unusual to hear. Can't wait. I can't wait to have an attack.
I know. Bring it
Can't
on.
wait. So I can kick it to the curb. That's what she's saying.
Yep,
She's saying
absolutely.
that's an awesome story. That's an awesome
Yeah.
story. I love that one. That's a really good one. So I'll just move on to the last two questions. So who's your ideal client? Who's the people that you like to help the most?
So people, anxiety, I mentioned, people who are
Yeah.
suffering from anxiety. I tend to, I really like working with young adults, young males and young females. They're beautiful people with so much heart and so much soul. And I find I get a lot of traction and benefit from working with them, and also older women. I work a lot with older women. So
Full circle, huh?
yeah, absolutely. So it's people that are feeling kind of unheard, misunderstood, and are ready to get curious about themselves.
Awesome.
That would be, I guess, the main thing. If they're not ready to get curious about themselves, I probably can't do a lot for them. But if they're wanting to just really get to know themselves and know their processes and make changes that are going to work for them, absolutely, they're my ideal client.
So when you say youth, do you mean like like 6-year-olds to 11-year-olds?
Probably 16 and above.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
So
teenagers.
Older, yeah.
Late teens, early 20s. Yeah, I get it. Okay, 100%. and you're talking like twilight years, like 80s onwards. Is that what you're saying?
No, anything from 40s, from late 30s to 40s. People, okay. I have a lot of women who come in who are experiencing, in the menopausal times and having a lot of anxiety and overwhelm around that, because that's a really challenging, or can be a really challenging time for women. So a lot of, people who, older women going through menopause. Let's just say that.
All right, cool. And I'll move on to the last question. So what ideas or information would you give to provide lifelong longevity? I had to throw one health question in.
No problem. The willingness to be uncertain. Being okay with being uncertain. And staying connected with people that you vibe with, that make you feel good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, what's the saying? You're the sum of the 5 people you hang with.
Yeah. And that's the key. And sometimes we have people in our lives that, we feel like we need to have them in our lives, but they're just not vibing, or our boundaries are not strong enough to make them vibe. I've had to teach a number of people how I want them to be with me. And that's been very good for our relationship, because they know that they can't treat me the way that they treat someone else, but we have this mutual respect, and it's beautiful. And we connect on that level. But you do have to teach people how you want to be treated. If you expect people to know how you want to be treated, they're not going to know. They just won't know.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much, Cath. It's been a pleasure having you on. Thank you so much. And because you didn't bag me too much, I'm going to give you access to my health club. So awesome. Some people write books. I just make websites up with health clubs in it.
Awesome.
And basically, you get access to my health club. It's worth $11. You get access to it for 1 month. I teach about EFT, emotional freedom technique, meditation.
Fabulous. I'm excited.
Nutrition, exercise, roadblocks, how to kick it to the curbs, disc profiling. I teach about Chinese medicine, acupuncture, and Chinese herbal medicine, and also about 8 leading chronic diseases are killing hundreds of thousands of Australians every year. And the numbers are getting worse, I'm sorry to say.
And after I get access, can I start bagging you after that?
Yeah, absolutely. You can bag me all you like.
Great. Excellent.
Actually, I'd love your feedback, so that'd be appreciated.
Yeah.
Love to hear what you think about the health.
Fabulous.
All right, so there it is there. My associate will give you access anyway. And thank you so much, Cath, for coming on. I got some gold nuggets from you and some important words that you said triggered me as well. So thank you so much for coming on and spending time with us.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
All right, guys, you've been watching the Get Busy Living podcast with the wonderful Cath Sully, and you guys have a great day.